Hello everybody and welcome to Civ House. I'm Rob and we have a surprise developer update, a little preview, I guess another one of what we are going to be getting in patch 1.2.0. From what I've seen, there are pretty significant updates here. I'm going to walk you guys through them, but do not worry, tomorrow I will still be going through all of the major patch updates in the notes like I normally do. This one is, I guess, a preview of what's, to be coming. Some of the big things I've heard is that we will be seeing which resources we are going to be getting in this new patch. So I'm pretty excited about that. If you guys are excited as well, make sure that you like the video and make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the great Civilization 7 content we have coming out nearly every single day. Yeah, let's just get into it here and let's see what they've got planned for us. This is about an 8-minute video, so I'm just going to kind of walk you guys through and see, what they've got planned.
Designer at Braxis. For those of you who don't know me, I oversee the economic system of the game.
Okay.
I worked on many aspects of the game.
Nice to meet you.
City management, happiness and celebrations, town specializations, and some of the changes you'll see here today.
Okay, so
I'm here to talk
some of the things that he's done have been very good, I feel like, in the game so far.
1.2.0 update. Let's start by diving into some of the highlights, and remember, there will be plenty more included in the patch notes when they release later. One of the biggest areas we're expanding in update 1.2.0 is resources.
All right, here we go. Oh, okay, that's cool. And some flowers. It's gonna add some spice to the maps. That's wow. Okay, 10. Okay, here I'm gonna turn off the closed captioning. So we've got 10 rubies, rice, mango, clay, limestone, hardwood, wild game, flax, and llamas. Okay, excuse me. Some interesting choices here, to say the least. So we're finally getting rice added back into the game. No surprise there. Mangoes will probably be in the tropical areas. Rubies, I'm assuming, may act similar to gold. Hardwood is an interesting one. I'm a little surprised. I'm wondering what that's going to do and when that's going to be in the game. Clay and limestone makes sense. I like those additions. Wild games feels like such an open-ended one. I'm guessing that they're just deer, but maybe they're just combining things like deer and elk and moose maybe into wild game. Flax will be smart. I like that. And then llamas, I can only imagine. Maybe they're going to act like camels. I wouldn't be surprised if that ends up being the case, but we'll have to see. We'll continue on, but these are interesting. All right, so I'm going to skip to this.
Also coming, resource generation.
Okay, what about resource generation?
Game start, but don't worry.
Okay.
Certain will always guarantee some resources.
That's good.
So we won't be soft locking you out of Legacy Pass.
Okay, so yeah, so we're gonna have stuff that we can get nearly every age. They're changing that up. I think that's pretty big, honestly.
As well, something we are calling the Hemisphere identity.
And then here's the Hemisphere stuff that we've been hearing about.
Resources, especially some of the treasure resources, will not only show up on certain continents or in one hemisphere.
Ah, okay.
And speaking of treasure resources, they can now spawn
okay, so I'll talk about real quick the Hemisphere stuff. I think that that's a really nice little addition there. It's going to make it feel a little bit more natural. I do wonder how that's going to work, though, in terms of like how they're going to balance that, because it might just be that some resources still continue to be better than others in a pretty serious way. So
on the map, if they spawn on your homelands, they behave like regular Empire resources.
Okay.
If they spawn on distant lands, they can generate treasure fleets.
All right, good. So this is going to give us more options for treasure fleets. I think that that is super important. You can even see here they have the little treasure fleet symbol. I don't remember if I've seen that. Maybe I just haven't been paying attention, but that seems like maybe that new symbol was added. But obviously getting furs as a treasure resource is nice. I love that.
This change paves the way for us to give you the ability to spawn in distant lands in a future update.
Whoa. Wait. Why does that matter? Okay, I'm confused. So, if we can spawn in distant lands in the future in an update, how is that any different than just starting a game on the same... I'm confused. Like, are we not going to be able to go to the other lands and have it count as a distant land? That doesn't make sense to me. So, yeah, if you guys can't tell, I'm really confused. Like, my brain is really racking how it would matter whatsoever that we can spawn in a distant land compared to the normal game. Like, I feel like that's just starting a normal game on a continent like any other game. Like, you can start on the westernmost continent or the easternmost continent. I don't really know how it's going to matter if we start on a distant land in a future update. Like, is that going to affect the way that we do like certain legacy paths? Like, because, you know, everything in the exploration age has to do with distant lands. So does this mean that we're changing the way that the exploration age is? Because if that's the case, that's fantastic. I'm down to change a little bit or a lot of it of the way the exploration age works. But putting in here intentionally, because he's obviously reading off of a script, that, you know, this isn't just a passing comment, that we're going to be able to be in the distant lands. Why does that matter? Maybe somebody could tell me in the comments, because I can't see why that would matter. Like, do we have to try to defend ourselves from other people? Like, we already kind of do that in the game. I don't know. That's confusing.
All that talk of mango and wild game reminds me, food. We've seen your feedback, and we agree. Food needed an update.
Yes, we knew that already, but that's good.
But very impactful change on how growth works. Shifting our formula, meaning growth that ramps up a lot more smoothly, can push your population higher.
Good.
And there is no longer a hard wall.
Oh, that's nice. Okay.
8 or 9 rural populations.
It's funny that they're showing Hatshepsut and Egypt, because they were some of the worst for the most part. I know people could find ways to make them work, but they were generally a lot weaker than others. So I am glad that food is getting an update and needs it.
Anymore. If you're someone who likes building tall or running food-heavy strategies, this should feel much better, and leaders and civs that lean into that strategy should feel stronger now.
Good.
And one immediate bonus is that AI plays much more optimally. For those of you who thought daily difficulty was too easy, good luck.
Yes.
We want to see the long-term effects.
Good. Okay, so they're updating AI as well. It needed it. They're just going to make better choices. And yeah, deity needs to be harder, for sure. I mean, I shouldn't have felt like after my first game of Immortal that I could just jump up to deity and really not have much of an issue. So, I'm glad, very happy about that change.
Therefore, there's very little nerfed and buffed in this patch. Don't worry.
Okay, that's fine.
We're actively looking into buffing quite a few leaders and civs in the coming patches.
That's fine.
And
we're okay with that.
We are excited to share. Multiplayer teams return.
Hey, there we go. Literally, Connor and I were trying to play a game the other day, and I was like, wait, are teams in yet? They're not, but this is needed. I'm excited for that. We will definitely do a game, the two of us, as a team for sure. So I'm glad. There will be actually a video of gameplay from us coming out, like the two of us playing together here shortly. So keep your eyes open for that one. That should be sometime this week, I think.
Our multiplayer fans out there, you can now play co-op with a friend or have a showdown with multiple teams facing off against each other. Here are some details. Teams share visibility with each other.
Good.
Along with relationships, war status,
okay,
and alliance status with other leaders.
That's probably smart.
When one player wins a victory, the whole team also wins that victory.
That's good as well.
Teammates can perform diplomatic actions with each other, except for espionage. Sorry,
interesting.
No spying on your friends allowed.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, it's going to make your teams very strong. I feel like you're going to want to have even teams in this game, because if you don't, it feels like there's a very big difference. Like, and being able to do endeavors with each other, isn't that going to make certain leaders like incredibly strong? Like, I'm thinking right now about Machiavelli, and I feel like if you're just intentionally feeding every turn with like denying endeavors and everything like that, I don't know. I feel like on multiplayer, there's going to be some really interesting strategies with teams working that way.
Not share tech or civic progress with
That's
each
good.
other.
That's fine. We didn't want that.
So that each leader and Civ still had their own unique feel when playing the game. For the same reason, Legacy Pass progress is also a personal endeavor.
Okay, that's good. I would have been really upset if that was not the
Beyond
case.
those big-ticket additions, we also have a number of UI and quality of life improvements coming your way.
Good.
Here are just some of the highlights.
We needed that.
Empire management is my game, so I feel your pain when those pesky natural disasters happen way too often. Floods, eruptions.
It's about time.
We hear you. And we reduce the frequency of natural disasters on light settings by 50%.
There we
And
go.
on moderate settings by 25%. Catastrophic settings remains unchanged for those who enjoy a little pain. We also gone ahead and
you
added
masochists.
a new repair all button.
Oh, this is so needed.
Happen, it takes just one click of a button and enough gold in your Empire's coffer to fix it.
Yeah, tell me that you haven't been sitting there being like, please, why do I have to go through and repair all this stuff on my own? So glad.
Similarly, when units are packed into your commander, you can upgrade them all at once with a single button click.
I didn't know that that was coming. That's so nice.
Upgrades.
We needed that so badly.
If you ever played until 3 o'clock in the morning, you know how much this next feature is much needed for our sleepy brains. We've added a new reminder on what building you build last in each settlement.
That's nice. We did need that.
The production manual.
You know, that's so I've been pretty critical of them patting themselves on the back for things that should have been in the game from the start. Like I think teams and this kind of stuff, like, yes, those are pretty basic features, but I don't blame them for it not being the first thing that they thought of to have in this game. I'm glad that they're adding those little things like, you know, your last build. I do think that that's good.
Loud and clear that tongue specialization reminders were happening just a little bit too frequently.
That is true too.
We reduce how often you get pinged so you can focus on your Empire and keep your tongue on growth mode if that's what you want to do.
Yeah, some of us do like that.
There is a lot of wonders in Civ 7, and they can be tough to keep track of. With 1.2.0, text and civics will now preview if a wonder is already built by you or another player.
Oh, that's nice.
Great people
I love
just
that.
got even greater. Now selecting a great person highlights the tile on the map where they can activate their ability.
Oh my gosh, yes.
We have added research queuing to...
That's another thing you just wouldn't think about, but that is such a nice quality of life. And the research queuing.
Now,
I think I said this in the last update video. I needed this so bad.
All prerequisites will automatically be queued up for you.
That's
no more manually
so
each
good.
individual step. Just pick your goal, and your Empire will efficiently follow the path towards that discovery.
Good. Good.
And last but not least, the technology for bridges has finally extended beyond your city walls into your Empire's towns. Now, you can purchase bridges in towns with gold.
Oh.
And that concludes the highlights. There's
Okay.
so much more, so check out the full update.
I feel like Bridges is
going to
be a really nice update.
We hope you enjoy the 1.2.0 update, and as always, please keep letting us know how...
Wait.
Oh, right. We also added one more turn
Oh,
in
okay.
this update. Once you finish the modern age,
I was like,
you
wait,
now
what?
have the option to keep playing endlessly during single-player games. You won't have new objectives or
That's
new
cool.
age progress, but you can still wrap up your other
We needed
victories,
this
see
very
the
desperately.
cinematics, earn legacy pass achievements, and just have fun with your Empire. Okay, with that, check out the full update notes when they release tomorrow. And as always, your feedback continues to be of a huge help for our team as we keep improving and building on Civ 7. Thanks to everyone playing and sharing your thoughts with us, and let us know how the update feels in the official Discord channel or Steam discussion board. Thank you, Civ
Or
fans,
on the
for being the
comments
best fans
in this
gaming.
video.
We hope you enjoyed the update.
I'm sure Civ is watching those. Look, this is a great update so far. There's still a lot of issues with this game. There's no doubt about it. And it's going to take them a while to address all of them. It's going to take them a while, I think, to change them to be the way that all of us are hoping that they will be. But this is progress. I like the addition of resources. I like the fact that they are making big time adjustments that are not attached to the DLC. I know I literally released a video today about my hopes and kind of why I think the third DLC for Civ 7 is going to be extremely important, where they're going to have to make big changes. But I think that adding things like resources and changing up the way that all of that works is, I think, going to be great. And I like that, they recognize that. I think that that's going to be a good way to kind of vary your games at least a little bit. And I think it's going to make the economic legacy paths, especially the first, for antiquity and for exploration, it's going to make it feel a lot better. As an economic player myself, I was not loving it. Too often I was getting locked out of easily attainable resources. I felt like I was fighting over them too much. And I understand that that's part of the game, but it was like to the point of where I would spend all this time and then I'd end up finding out that there was just nowhere for me to get any of them. And then I was kind of screwed because that was the style that I was wanting to play. So I'm glad that they are making that change. I really enjoy the fact that, that they added one more turn and just some of these good quality of life updates that we needed, I think pretty desperately, to be honest with you. One more turn is the only one while I was, giving them their flowers for listening and adding some stuff that seemed basic. This one's one that I still can't believe they didn't ship with. I think somebody has told me in the comments that they didn't for Civ 5 or 6 maybe. I can't remember which one. I don't personally remember all that well. I'm one of those people who didn't always finish their games, especially early on. I was just too excited to start new ones. I love the beginning of Civ games, and man, yeah, this felt like one they needed to add, so I'm glad they're getting it out soon. It's still a little later than I would have liked. We're almost at 2 months plus. Yeah, like two plus months since launch. So feels like that one could have been added right away, but I don't know, maybe there was something in the coding that was weird about it. But overall, like, these are great changes. I'm excited to go through the patch notes as well. If you're watching this video, when those patch notes have already gone live, you can hop over to there. I will have a video out for that as well. But I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Maybe I'm being too optimistic after being pretty negative in the past of some of these things that they've been doing. But I do feel like this is generally a good patch, or at least the good, workings of a patch. I'm excited to see, how they're going to start moving on past this, because I think they're getting the basic stuffs out of the way. Now it's time to make the really big changes. So I'm excited. I'm hopeful that, this patch will go live, things will go well, and then in May and June we'll start to see some pretty major updates to things like hopefully legacy paths in my mind. So yeah, like I said, let me know in the comments what you guys think, but that is going to wrap it up for us on this one. So from our house to yours, thanks for watching, and I hope you'll join us for one more turn.